Essentially, I've never had a real job. I've been doing this for, almost 15 years or so. Honestly, I think you're stupid. All of the other businesses that we had together, they didn't solve a wide enough problem.
For today's episode, I invited the co-founder of the company called Penji. If you in your business have been looking to hire a graphic designer or videographer and you know how challenging it is to find the right person, make sure they understand your branding and then deliver on time, this might be an opportunity for you to literally eliminate all of that because Penji will find the right fit for you and they deliver an average within 24 hours. So let me show you what they can do for your business. Any sort of digital design, anything you can do on Canva, they can do for you on demand. Anything you can do on CapCut for editing, they can do on demand for your business. They've worked with big brands so far. They have over 500 team members, logos, web design, custom illustrations, clothing, merch, design, social media, digital ads, and video editing. Penji can do. Without any further ado, let's jump straight into this conversation. Welcome to another episode of the Quiet Work podcast. I'm looking forward to this conversation today. We're going to talk about growing an on-demand graphic design service business or even unlimited graphic design service business to around 500 team members by now. Looking forward to hearing that story directly from Mr. Grzybowski. I'm pretty sure you can't pronounce his last name, but I can. That's very rare here on my podcast so far. So Jonathan, please introduce yourself and tell us about the company you represent, and we'll kick it off with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not going to be able to say my last name as well as you. And I'm okay with that because I'm not really like a true Polish person. Unlike you, you are like the definition of Polish. I am just an Americanized version of it. But yeah, my name is Jonathan Grzybowski. And for the longest time, and I think you might appreciate this, Matt, but I would always say like, oh, I'm the co-founder of this, right? Or like I'm the business professional. And now I've changed it because like being a co-founder is awesome and being a business professional is awesome. But like being a dad is so much cooler, right? Being a husband is so much cooler. And I'm grateful for everything that I do from my business career. But what really motivates me and inspires me is just making and building a life for my family. So I'm a husband, I'm a father, and I'm the co-founder of Penji. And Penji is a graphic design subscription or like a creative subscription, creative production subscription service. And if you have a creative problem in your business and you're looking to hire talent fast, Penji is the fastest way to receive quality graphic design at a consistent price. So the problems that we solve as a business are instead of hiring somebody and onboarding them, like when you hire a new employee, it takes a month at least in order to get them acclimated into the business. With Penji, it takes a couple of hours. So that in itself is speed is really important, but efficiency is most important. And that's more or less the problem that we solve. And we can go into detail about AI and how that's changing things, but I still think regardless of how AI adapts, you still need a human at the helm to be able to navigate all of that and to manage it effectively. And so that's more or less what Penji does and what Penji solves.
Absolutely, yes. And we'll dive deeper into Penji because I have so many questions related to that. Such a cool business model. But tell us about your story. How did you end up co-founding Penji? What was the path towards it? What happened in the beginning when you started your entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah. So essentially I've never had a real job. I've been doing this for, almost 15 years or so. And it's iteration after iteration after iteration. The the guiding light for me has always been how can we solve a big enough problem? And usually that problem is attached to a nice when you're able to solve problems, you receive fair compensation for that problem that's being solved. But for us, the hiring problem was the biggest thing. So a lot of teams for us, they have a lot of customers for us, they have internal teams that do the creative work, but they are not technically skilled in order to do so. So they don't know how to design, but they understand the creative. They understand what looks good. They have an eye, but they can't execute. That's a problem that to us is worth solving. That was my problem because I'm not a graphic designer. So I created me and my partner created a business that solves the problems that we had in our business because we are not we're creative in our brains, we're creative in how we do things, but we're not technically creative. And so that was the business that was created. And the reason why Penji is the one that stuck is because all of the other businesses that we had together, they didn't solve a wide enough problem. So we were at first, at one point in time, we were a digital marketing agency. The digital marketing agency was a really good local problem because we were a digital marketing agency for like web design and SEO and like a full service agency, but it only solved a problem to the people that we spoke to. So like
Mm,
I would have to go to Saul, I would have to go to Matt, and I would say, "Hey, you have a problem in your business and we can solve it." And it's a very intimate conversation, but at the time I was the only salesperson and I'm trying to get people. So I was only able to sell to people within a proximity.
mm,
And so we looked at ourselves like what are the types of people that we want to become? And we realized and what does our career look like? What does our future look like? And then what we realize is that the locality aspect of doing business can be nice, but it's not reaching our objectives as humans. Like my
mm,
business partner and I, it never reached our goals. We made a stable living at some point in time, but when you solve large enough problems and you want to make a global impact the way that we did, it forces you to think differently and it forces you to create a business that can be used by more than one person. And that's how Penji came about is the culmination of a lot of errors, but it's the guiding principles of solving a large problem in business that is ridiculously hard to solve, but ends up becoming profitable. And also you become happy doing it.
yeah.
Like I love the fact that our customers are in over 80 different countries.
Wow.
I love the fact that our customers are a wide spread of different types of people. It's not just one singular. We have a, this is crazy. We have a customer who doesn't have any arms and they're able to submit graphic design,
Wow.
through Penji, right? Then we have large organizations that are multinational Fortune 500, right? And they're able to use Penji. when you have a when you have a business like what we had where it was a digital marketing agency, we were only to service very specific one type of person, and that wasn't what we wanted to do.
So you're the type of, or you're running the type of company that has the freedom of being promoted during the Super Bowl halftime show or between.
I,
That's a
I
perfect
mean it.
model.
I mean, yeah, sure, right? Like that's definitely a part of it. But like, we want to create a business that solves a very specific problem to a very specific
Mhm.
type of people, not a very specific solution to a very specific type of person. Like it's hard. Again, this is just what we chose. And your question originally was like a productized service, or you brought up the productized service. Like that's what allowed us the ability to grow as business professionals and also as a business. We took what we were good at. We productized it, made it easier for people to digest and hire, and then we sold it to people that had that same problem. And then now here we are. I don't know if I would recommend doing this now because it's a little bit different when we started it 10, 15 years or so ago. But I think the guiding principles are still the same, which is solve a problem. Can you turn that problem into a solution for multiple people, or do
Yeah.
you want to keep it to very specific, finite groups of people? Both can be profitable. Both can be very rewarding lives, but it just depends on the journey that you want to be on as a business professional.
Yeah, that was one of my questions that I had. How did you, when you initially were conceptualizing about the business model and testing and trying using your experience or reviewing your experience so far, how did you come up with that profitability of that business? Because when I look at it from a third party perspective, that's such a complex business, and I know firsthand that you've mentioned it takes about 4 weeks to onboard a good team member, but it takes probably 4 months to find one and test, and then the stress that you have to go through during that time to build the SOPs around it and find the right fit and make
Yeah.
sure that that person understands.
You're going through the whole process right now in your head and you're
Yeah.
adding more time, right? Like it takes a lot. You have to be super organized in order to attain that. Like 4 weeks is being nice. Like
Yeah,
realistically,
absolutely.
if you hire a salesperson, that salesperson is not making profit for you for at least 3 to 6 months
Easy. Yeah,
easily. And
easily.
I would say, dare I say that for any other business, any position in your company. Like you have to have your crap together, all SOPs, all processes and procedures. It's tough. If you don't want to deal with that bull crap, just hire a service like Penji. And that's the other thing
There you
too.
go.
Like if you were to go on freelance platforms, although they're amazing, right? They serve a very specific need. But I would just say that a lot of people tell you that they can do a job. That doesn't
Oh
necessarily
yeah.
mean that they can actually execute the job. And what Penji also solves is the ability to have multiple people in your team for a fraction of the cost. Like with Penji, you have a designer, an architect, a art director, a illustrator, somebody that can hand draw things, a specialized designer for web design, logo design. Like all of these things are all inside of one subscription for us, and it makes it super digestible and easy for people to become a customer if they have that need.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm amazed that there's 80 countries that you serve, or you have clients in 80 countries. Could you walk us through a typical customer journey from their perspective? What happens when they approach you and they're interested? They obviously have a problem. They need more branding, let's say, and they come to you, to Penji. How does the workflow look like from here on?
So I'll explain it in the type of like we're not necessarily, we won't turn anyone down, although we do have a very specific type of customer that we love working with. Ideally, we would like to work with somebody that has an existing team or is the team themselves and just needs a little
Mhm.
bit of help. There is a enterprise customer that we have that is a printing company, a very, very, if you can kind of think of the printing companies, there's a very high probability that you'll get the one that I'm talking about. But the printing company is a customer of Penji. They have like one or two people that's in charge of the website, and then they need all designs for the website optimized, edited in a very specific way, but they don't have the time to edit it themselves in order to launch and load into the website. That is more or less like a perfect fit. It's like we have a very specific need and we fulfill that need for that particular person because of the problem that we solve. And they're able to consistently use Penji and never leave because of our communication and our style and our approach. They don't have to log into Penji ever. They can just send us a message and tell us what they need done. Our team says, got it. We'll submit it to Penji ourselves. And then we'll make the edits, modifications, and things like that. So then that way they can just continuously focus on their business. They could focus on their jobs, and then we'll do the work that they don't know how to do or they don't want to do.
Interesting. So for those listening, how, if you could name just a few things that you guys can do, like digital, you've mentioned not even digital, not only digital, there's also like handwritten illustrations that you've mentioned. So what are are those flyers? Are those web design? Are those
Yeah,
graphic
I mean
design?
anything that
Give
you
me
can
the what?
possibly do in like Canva is a great solution, right? Like I think
Mhm.
everybody at some point in time has or is currently using Canva. Do you want to be in Canva doing the
No,
podcast artwork? No, no,
no.
you don't. Like, can you outsource it to AI? Can you give it to AI? Sure, you can. You absolutely can nowadays. But realistically, is it going to fit the brand messaging that you're looking for? I don't know. Like realistically, I'm sure it will at some point in time, but does it feel like you, right? That, and I think to me, I'm hopeful that forever and always you will need a human to achieve that. But anything you can do on Canva is what we do, right?
Mm,
Anything that we do that you could do on CapCut is what we do. The problem that we're
mm,
solving is just the time allocation. Do you realistically want to do this yourself, or do you want to have somebody else do it for you? That's like the tale as old as time solution for businesses.
make
You could do, if you're a plumber, can you realistically do all the plumbing in your house? Sure, you can. Do you want to do it? Are you afraid of messing it up? Absolutely. I know I am, but that's what we solve.
Makes sense, and the pricing makes sense from a customer perspective. I'd be curious to hear where was the profitability mark for you guys? How many clients initially did you have to reach to make it profitable, or was it from day one like that?
Yeah. So in the very beginning, we charged $79 a month for our service.
70.
Um, 7.9. Yeah. And then we got about like 100 customers paying us, and we were at like, 10 grand a month, right? Like 10, 15, 20 grand a month. And then that was kind of the cycle that we used, right? How can we get money fast? And then how can we take that money and then put it towards ads and then sell to other people? In the very beginning of Penji, it wasn't really profitable, but now we're at a point where it's a bell curve, right? And this is true for all subscription models. So when you have a bell curve, There's the super users that are like the people who moderately use us, and then there's the people who don't use us at all, and then there's the people who use us nonstop. That's like we wanna work with these people, and we're okay with these people, and we wanna work with these people the least.
Makes
So we
sense.
have actually at some point in time did an analysis internally of our systems, and we realized that there are like X number of customers on this side that were using us like crazy. And then we basically went up to them and we said, listen, you have to we have to bill you more, or you could just cancel. And we respect and understand if you have to cancel, but you just simply don't pay us enough right now.
Hmm.
Because we've had so many plans and iterations of our pricing. We've had $79, we've had $349, we've had $699. Like we have $500 now. We're going to be changing that. So yeah, the profitability thousand I think is it's not even just a profitability aspect. It's just a fair cost, in my opinion, for an employee. If
Yeah,
you were to hire an employee for $1,000 and they would be integrated into your business, I would say that's a pretty fair price if they do the job.
100%. Yeah. I mean, it still makes a lot of sense. And, we've mentioned other benefits from doing that way rather than finding and hiring someone in-house. I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs that I had a pleasure of meeting, they want things super fast. They want things now. And that's, in my opinion, in my experience, the mistake you would make. There's a lot of mistakes that you make that way
Yeah.
when it comes to hiring, because you can't just speed things up. And then once
That's
you
been the
find a good
biggest
hire,
mistake at Penji for sure, is
yeah,
hiring. I think right in business, there's a point where you will be super fine with mediocre people, but then you have this dollar threshold. It's somewhere around the 10 million mark that you'll be at where the people that were in the company that were working are no longer relevant because it requires a
yeah,
different type of person to get to that threshold.
100%.
And so you'll have to change somewhere within that range. I mean, like 5 to 25 million, I think is probably like that. Like how to get there, you could do it by yourself from 0 to a couple million, right? With the correct systems and the processes and procedures, I think you'll be fine in that regard. But then you're just going to plateau for a while, and then you need to level up.
And for you and Penji, is it all bootstrap for now, until now, or did you have to raise funds at some point?
So we've never raised an ounce of funding.
Thanks.
We've done this all ourselves, and it's something I'm pretty proud of. I don't think I'm glad we never did funding yet, because now we have even more established credibility. And I
Mm,
would say if there's anybody out there that's listening to this and they want to understand, like, well, do I need funding or should I get funding? You have to have proof first.
mm,
Um, I think if you don't have proof, I think honestly, I think you're stupid. That's just my opinion. Hey, I need $1 million to build this. No, like that's dumb. I need $1 million because it's built and because it's generating
working.
revenue. Yeah, and it's working, and here's why it's working, and here's where the $1 million is going to go. Like if we were to get funding for a couple initiatives that we're working on internally, it would be to add fuel to our fire. It would be to put a Super Bowl ad, right? Like it would be that would be I mean, that's a terrible idea, but, like, that would be it, right? It would be something like that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and I agree with you. Now that you've done it all bootstrap way, it's becoming more and more attractive. Almost like the investors should be on the lookout for it now, but you still don't allow them to enter. And who knows what's ultimately what's the goal for Penji, for you and your partners?
Uh, there's a very specific dollar amount that we're looking for. I mean, in full transparency for myself, it's to one day sell and never have to work again. That's just my ultimate goal. I wanna retire my wife, as I'm sure you would want to. Like, my wife likes being a mom, and she's really good at it, and I wanna be able to provide her the ability to do that.
Love that. That's a big hairy audacious goal that I love. Yeah, that's a good one for sure. And I don't see why this wouldn't be possible for the next couple of years. Looking at what you guys are building over there
Yeah,
at
I mean,
Penji.
I just wanna, like I don't wanna be in front of a computer
Mm,
for my entire life. I yeah, I just don't. Like, that's just a dream of mine. Like, I don't wanna I love talking to you, but I don't wanna do this every single day because it's hard, and I wanna be a good dad, I wanna focus on that, and I always wanna build things. I'm never gonna stop building things because I just feel like I'm really good at building. I'm just a builder as I've done Legos, I've done Pokopia. I mean, like all these things that like I know that I can build, but um yeah, it's just making sure that you leave a good impact on this planet and something that my daughter can be really proud of.
Yeah, love that. That's a big vision. I respect. Speaking of talking to me, I think you are a podcast veteran. I've yet to meet someone who has been on so many podcasts. How many podcasts have you been part of so far?
I mean, like I know I've interviewed probably over 500 to 1,000 people.
Insane.
But in terms of how many podcasts I've been on, I mean, probably, several hundreds.
That's
I think it's a really good way to market the business,
I think so.
but I also think it's a really good way to meet cool people, and because entrepreneurship and business is really lonely. So you need to meet people in order to get yourself out there, but they could also promote and leverage audiences. And I think that's like a really good way to get your name out there, and to get the business out there. Like, I don't care how big your audience is. You could have 5 downloads. You could have 5,000 downloads. Um, as long as the audience, as long as you can find a way to share your story, it's going to inspire somebody, even if it's just you, or maybe it's not you, maybe it's a listener. I don't know, but I think especially for SEO too, I think it's really good for SEO.
I agree. I agree. I had some guests who are part of, I guess we can call it traditional business, service businesses, more old school businesses, and they don't have really much digital presence. And every time you type their company name, the podcast shows up, even though we didn't have, it was the beginning of the podcast, we didn't have much views, but it still shows up on Google because that's the only video about their company that was ever made on the internet.
Yeah, for
So that
sure.
that makes
But
sense.
it's also a really good prospecting strategy too. Like, we have a podcast and our conversion rates are pretty high.
From the podcast. Yes. I mean, with your business model, I think there's so many different creative ways to get
Yeah.
on to
Like, to me, I mean, you have to create content. Like, it doesn't have to be a
yeah.
podcast. It could be like, I mean, just look at the guy at the career ladder. If you
Oh
don't
yeah.
know what that is, yeah, it's a great series on YouTube. I mean, I don't know what he sells, but if he was like a PR company or a media company of some sort, it's like the no brainer. He interviewed like Will Smith the other day. Like, he's getting big name
Wow.
people, and like all they have to do is just get them into the door, get them into the ecosystem, and then grow the relationship from that podcast. Like, I'm talking to you, Matt, right now, and like we're having a healthy conversation, but we've also had conversations behind closed doors about our daughters, right? Like this is the only way. Like, I wouldn't be able to talk to you if it wasn't for your podcast.
I agree, and we have so much in common. I mean, that's
For sure.
incredible, right? So
Yeah, no, I
I love it.
agree. I hope to be friends with you for a very long time. Like and that's what the podcast does. I don't know of any other way that you can build that a type of relationship without having a podcast.
It's definitely a great way to network. 100%. I mean, I've met incredible people and entrepreneurs that way. You did too. I mean, you've been doing that for longer. I'd be curious to hear who do you use to edit your videos for your from your
Well,
podcast.
I would say Penji, but it'd be a very selfish, I guess, advertisement.
What's the turnaround for your clients? We didn't touch on that. I know I've mentioned it. A lot of entrepreneurs that I know, they like to get things fast. So I can imagine you had some clients that wanted to know, or that want to know, potential clients as well, that want to know how long it takes when they submit or submit a request for a design versus a video edit. How long does it take for them to get the result?
24 hours.
Really,
Yeah, 24 hours.
24 hours?
Yeah, I mean, you get time is money, right?
Indeed,
That's what you wouldn't you want that as a business owner?
1000%. Yes.
You want, like, I mean, you want it in an hour, I realistically, but I mean, like, and those are the worst customers too. And I think that's like the one thing that we didn't necessarily talk about is like setting the proper expectations from sales, I think is super important.
Mm,
And because you don't want to undersell, you don't want to oversell. You want to be able to hit the marker, like, and just maintain that level of consistency. The worst customers are the ones that need it in an hour. The best customers are the ones that are understanding that's 24.
that's
The best
incredible.
customers are the ones that respect it at 48. That's the main one.
Yeah. No,
Again,
that
it's like a
I mean,
bell curve.
I was thinking 48 to 72. That would be totally acceptable and making a lot of sense. But at 24 hours is insane. I mean, that's pretty pretty
I
fast,
mean,
to
it
be honest.
depends, right? Like, if you're doing like a 100-page document, of course, it's not going to take 24 hours. But like, if you're doing like YouTube thumbnails and you need to change it, like, yeah, it's going to be because it's going to be a couple of hours. It could be same day, actually.
Yeah.
It just depends on what you need.
Yeah. Cool, man. I have three more questions for you, and from three different genres that I want to touch on. First would be, have you heard about that recent acquisition of the fitness app Cal AI?
Yeah,
CAL AI.
they
They
sold to MyFitnessPal.
Exactly. The founder, I didn't know he is 19 years old.
Yeah.
Incredible. And when I started watching one of the podcasts, again, podcast here, that's how I found out about the founder and the acquisition, actually,
Yep.
from the podcast world. He was talking about, and was quite interesting to me, that at 19 years old, he built such a successful company. Very simple. I'm actually a user, so I'm a bit biased, but I've tested so many, including MyFitnessPal. That's funniest thing ever that they acquired them, because this is the easiest app ever, and it's working, right? So what I'm getting at is the company culture. He has mentioned company culture. He has shared books in company culture, etc. When it comes to company culture, I'm pretty sure you've had some thoughts around it, or you've built something incredible. You have quite a few team members. So what's your take on company culture? How do you approach it? And tell us about that as well.
Fairness, honesty, and speed, I guess.
Fairness, honesty, and speed.
I would say the analogy that I give is I want to cross a river and I'm in a boat with all of you and we need to row at the same speed. If you've ever been in a boat, the boat, if one person is not rowing correctly, the whole boat gets messed up
Mm.
or at the same pace. You'll know immediately when rowing a boat who's the slow one and who's the one that's the most efficient and effective, et cetera, et cetera. I want to row a boat and I want to cross the river. Who do you think is the most confident? Who do I have the most confidence in order to row the boat safely across the river? Even if I were to have holes inside of that boat. That's more or less the analogy that I try to give to our teams. And to those people, I ask our leaders, who do you think is not capable of rowing that boat? And the unfortunate truth is that those people end up not being a part of the company. But the people who we are confident in being able to row that boat, we ride together to achieve the goal. So I think that is the company culture, is just fairness, speed, and honesty.
Fairness, speed, and honesty. I like that. And the boat analogy makes a lot of sense as well. I had, funny enough, my friend met one of the guys who was in that at the Olympics. What was the 50s, in the 50s or 60s, that they made a movie off with Tom Hanks, The Man in the Boat,
Yeah.
I think was the name. Yeah, he met one of these guys. He's a very nice gentleman in his 80s or 90s now, and he took him to his location when they practiced. So I had
Yeah.
this memory when you were talking about the man in the boat and rowing in the one direction towards that goal, and making sure that everyone is on the same speed, the same level. And I like those three. Next one would be AI. And obviously, it's a big topic now. How do you use or leverage AI within or organization? And then do you handle a lot of objections related to AI? For example, hey, I can use Claude to design something for me. How is Penji different? Do you deal with that at all, or not really?
Yeah, all the time. I mean, and the short answer is yeah, Claude can. And a lot of other services absolutely can do the same thing too. All of them can. I think it just goes back to your time management. If you could have somebody think about the designs for you and then design them and deliver them,
Mm.
I would pay a lot of money in order to make sure that I could focus on other things. So I think the benefits remain the same. If somebody wants to go on AI and do it, then by all means, that's fine. But if you want somebody internally to talk to instead of doing it all by yourself, I mean, it just depends on the goals of the business, right? Everybody's going to be different. Everybody's going to have a different answer.
Absolutely. No, and I agree. I think that's a good
Do
one.
what works best for you. If it's AI, it's AI. So be it.
And what do you use AI for internally, or maybe even for you and your particular role at the company
I
now?
use Claude.
Claude?
I think it's awesome. Um,
Do you use
I
Claude
do a lot of
Code?
training with it. Good.
Did you go on a training, you said?
I do all of our company training through Claude.
Oh, I see.
So how to get people to become more efficient at their jobs. I'm
Mm.
big into training. I love training. I love making sure that the teams understand what their jobs are so then they can, focus on that. So yeah, I mean, I think Claude is the best.
Are you using Claude Cowork? Claude. That's such a
Yeah, it's a tongue
tricky name.
twister. I don't use it as much as I should. I'm a little apprehensive about Cowork. I mean, I have used it it doesn't necessarily make the most sense for me right now. But from a sales SDR perspective, I am absolutely going to be using it. I just have to like mind map a couple of things. I truly believe that there's a way to automate outreach. You
Mm,
don't need people to do outreach for you as much anymore. I think you could do that, automate that via AI agents and systems and GTM systems.
yeah.
But the hard part is the closing. I don't think you could ever get rid of that.
Yeah, one of my podcast guests who's actually in Europe, in Netherlands, running a insurance company for large commercial industrial solar sites, probably only industrial at this point. And he said that he's been in business for like 20, 30 years, and he sees that in the future we'll have my AI talking to your AI, and only the last part, which is the handshake part, I guess, will be covered by human, but everything else will probably be outsourced to AI agents, analyzing, preparing proposals, analyzing proposal, reviewing the proposal, countering the proposal. All that can be handled by AI agents between the companies. And that was at first a bit scary, but I think we are heading in that direction anyway. I mean, it's growing at such a rapid pace. Are you using Cloud Code as well? I'm not sure I heard it right. Or is it
Sometimes, I
Code?
mean, sometimes from time to time, yeah. More often not, because I'm not a developer and that's not my domain. But the short answer is like I could be doing more, but I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite incredible platform for sure. Been hesitant to get on Claude wagon, but honestly, once I start learning more about that, I think Claude stands out from most of the platforms out there.
I mean, you just have to figure out what's working in your business and what's not. Like, where's the bottleneck in your process, and then fix that. So if it's outreach, then like find an AI agent that does that, or find AI to fix that. If it's sales or if it's production, if it's whatever that bottleneck is, I don't know the answer to the question. Only you can provide that. But I
Yeah.
promise you, if you were to interview yourself and find out what your problems are within your business, you can naturally take that interview and then give it to AI and have them analyze what you said and then be able to come up with reasonable solutions. To me, transparently, we pay too much money for people to do outreach. Whereas I think that we can easily use AI to fix that.
Yeah, there's a way now. I was actually watching the other day, like a go-to-market and Claude code build out,
Yep.
and it's pretty much possible. I mean, there's definitely not much that you could do better if you did the whole thing yourself as a
Yeah.
human or as someone, not even as a human, as a business owner. I mean, if you've been doing outbound for many years and you do it for others as a service, maybe you could because you understand a little bit what you need to do. But as a business owner, you're definitely not going to do much better doing it yourself versus having an AI agent doing all that for you. In fact, you probably can read at that speed level
There's
as
no way you
AI and
can.
analyze it. 100%.
There's no way you can.
Here, Jonathan, I have a last question for you, and we can wrap up after that. And this is a little bit philosophical, but it's my favorite question of the podcast. So I will ask you as well. If you had an opportunity to sit across the table from Jonathan, who's just starting out his career, entrepreneurial journey, what piece of advice would you have for him?
It's you're gonna get there. Just trust the process and continue to believe in yourself. And I would
Mm,
probably say, don't let other people steal your happiness or don't let other people influence your decisions.
I like that. Self belief. That's a big one right there. I think it's such a key word in our journey. Self belief. You have to believe before someone else believes, and you can do greater things than your self belief or the things you believe are possible. So have a strong belief. And again, you've added something that is also big to me personally. That there will be people constantly telling you that it's not possible, that you can't do this, and try to influence your belief and or self belief. And that's something that we
Nothing is
have to guard
possible. I mean,
ourselves
like,
against.
nothing is possible if you really think about it. Everything is hard. So
Yeah,
I don't know, man. You just got to do your thing. There's
I
no
love it.
right or wrong answer to it. If you work really hard, I have a feeling you will always be successful. That's it. I think if you show up and you put in the hours, I think then you will have the ability to be more confident to solve that problem.
I like that. I'll add to this. I heard one of the podcasts or videos somewhere the other day, a pretty cool, quick, I guess, story that relates to this. That every day you show up to the desk or whatever your home office or your regular office, and you try to do things a little bit better. And you show up again, try to do things a little bit better. Then you hire people, and they do it better, and then try to manage people. But at one point, you just come back to that office or you arrive at that office and there's not much that you can do. And then that's when you pretty much you can exit or move on to another venture or just allow it to compound and own it and
Yeah,
essentially
100%.
build wealth that way. So
I
that's
think
pretty
it's
much what we do.
really good way to think about it. That's
Yeah.
simplified for sure.
Absolutely. Come in, try to do something a little bit better every single day. Jonathan, it's been a great conversation, one of many that we had so far, and definitely not the last one. I'm looking forward to staying in touch. Like you said, being friends for a long time. I'm glad that podcast world connected us, and I hope that we'll have more episodes and yeah, more stories together. We have plenty of things in common, so looking
For
forward to
sure.
that. Thank you so much. We'll make sure to leave all the information about you and Penji, contact information down below the video across all platforms. And we spread the word about Penji to make sure that others benefit from the incredible pricing and incredible turnaround times and actually the quality of the work that you guys deliver. It speaks for itself. Thank you so much.
Thanks for your time, man. Appreciate it.